Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another range report. And today's range report is on a really cool rifle from LMT. This is the LMT Estonian Reference Rifle. So this video is kind of a supplement to my last range report where I reviewed the New Zealand Reference Rifle by LMT. So this is a civilian version of the contract gun that LMT makes for the country of Estonia, and it is built and has different specifications than that New Zealand reference rifle. So it's very, very different, and it's really awesome to get to review both. But before I talk about those differences and the things that I like and don't like about this particular gun, I want to thank the people that always make these videos possible. First and foremost is the owner of this amazing rifle, a local subscriber and friend of the channel, D. He just wants me to use his first initials, so thank you so much, D, for giving me this opportunity. I want to thank my Patreons as always, because through their monthly donations and support, they help keep the lights on around here. You guys know that apparently I'm a bad boy here on YouTube, and YouTube doesn't like to monetize my content, so the Patreons go a long way in helping me keep this content coming. And I always want to thank my primary sponsor who provides all of the ammunition for these range reports, my good friend Mark from Brownworks. And you guys know I talk about Brownworks in every single range report, because not only does he support the Texas Gun Vault, he makes some of the best grips in the world for a wide variety of firearms out of a wide variety of exotic woods and materials. His customer service is top notch. Mark over there is an artist, he's a craftsman. I know I'm rolling in pictures of some of his finest work. And I know if you were here watching this video, you like high-end firearms. After all, LMT's some of the best AR-15s on the market. And since you like high-end firearms, I know that you want grips for your firearms that are also exceptionally high quality and unique and customized personally to you. So if you like custom logos, engravings, custom finishes, well, go check out Brownworks. I'm going to put a link in the description below and also as a pinned comment. Go over there, see what he has to offer. I guarantee you, you're going to find something that you like. If you don't happen to find anything you like, make sure that you contact Mark. As I said, his customer service is outstanding. And one other thing, because I know you're probably here because you like modern sporting rifle magazines, he also offers a couple of services for you. Laser engraving of magazines. Yeah, here is a PMag with the Texas Gun Vault logo. He can laser engrave those, AK-47 magazines, as well as 1911 magazines. And now he is also offering a selection of wood grips for AR-15s. Yes, I know AR-15s, a lot of people are going to say they don't need wood, but who knows, maybe you got something special and want something that no one else has. Well, Mark offers those as well. So as I said, please go over there, check out his website, see what he has to offer. They are a very innovative company, always coming out with new and cool products. I'm also going to put a 10% discount code in that link as well. So that is 10% off your first order from Brownworks. So when you go over there, make sure you contact Mark, and when you do, tell him the Texas Gun Vault sent you. All right, so let's talk about this really awesome rifle. I've already told you a little bit about it. It's the Estonian contract rifle, and I've already mentioned it's very different than the New Zealand reference rifle. The New Zealand reference rifle had a monolithic upper receiver with quad rails, and it was direct gas impingement. Well, this has an M-LOK handguard on it. It's a lot thinner, and it is a short stroke gas piston system, so quite different than the New Zealand rifle in that way. So really, when it comes to building AR-15s, these two rifles are about as far off as you can be. And it's really cool that LMT makes such amazing products that can be so different, and their clients want such different products, and they can meet and exceed all of those expectations that those governments have. So it's really cool that LMT produced this and put this on the civilian market, because you guys know there's a lot of us geeks and nerds out there that like to collect this stuff. Some people might not even shoot them, but of course, I got to shoot this one. This is pretty awesome, but these are collector's pieces. And I know a lot of people out there right now are kind of scrambling for these, and that's why the prices on these are constantly going up, even though they're still in current production. So let's talk about the things that I like and don't like about this particular firearm. And this list is going to be pretty similar to the New Zealand list. And let's talk about the lower receiver first. LMT makes some of the best lower receivers for AR-15s. All of their controls are ambidextrous, and I think these lower receivers are some of the best M16 AR-15 lowers out there. They are finished beautifully, you don't see any machine marks on them, and all of the controls are already built into the lower. You don't have to have any weird accessories, and this is, I think, the evolution of the M16 or the AR-15 for the modern world, because you know there's a lot of left-handed people out there, so people serving in those militaries already have a rifle that they can fire and use easy. And besides the military provenance, which I also think is really cool about this gun, I really do like the iron sights that come with it. Now, D has set this up with a nice Trijicon and a Trijicon magnifier, but these iron sights from LMT are some of the best iron sights on the market, and if you ever find them as a standalone product, you're going to pay a lot for them too. I really think that they make some of the most durable and best quality iron sights out there. I also like the LMT grips. Now, normally I don't like the larger grips on AR-15s or these more rubberized grips, but this isn't too rubberized. The texture on them is really nice, and I like its size. And normally I don't like finger grooves either, but this one really does fit the bill. It feels really nice in my hand. Another thing I noticed holding this rifle is that it's a lot lighter than many of the other piston-driven ARs that I've shot. For me, one of the downsides to any piston gun is its weight. Often they get a little bit front heavy, and just because of all of the mechanics, it just kind of weighs down the gun. But LMT really seems to have done a great job at keeping the weight down. And I think a lot of it has to do is with this handguard, which, by the way, this upper is also monolithic. It's really cool how they can just machine that as just one part, but it's very thin and very light. And that actually makes, I think, this piston system very doable in a military rifle, because as you know, the saying goes, ounces can become pounds. So if your rifle begins to kind of weigh your soldiers down, it can wear them out after a long period of time, especially in the battlefield and training. And the last thing that I really like about LMT rifles is their proprietary charging handles. Now, by proprietary, I don't mean they only fit in LMT, it's just the way that they're designed. They're ambidextrous as well. So this is a completely ambidextrous firearm. But this charging handle is awesome, depending on which side of the gun you want to charge it from. It's very easy to actuate. The levers are just the right size. They're not too small, they're not too large where they get in the way. It's a well thought out charging handle. And so the controls and the manual of arms of this rifle are just perfect, I think, for anybody. Right-handed, left-handed, big, small. It's just really well thought out. All right, so now let's talk about a couple of things about this gun that I don't like. And that list is very small. The first thing is going to be the stock. Now, on the New Zealand Reference Rifle, they use one of their SOP mod copy stocks. They're a little bit wider, they're a little bit more robust. But on these Estonian contracts, they went with a Magpul, and I believe the model is the SLK. It's a very small stock. Well, it's definitely well built and it's very sturdy, but when it comes to a military rifle, I just kind of like those stocks to be a little bit more robust, and I like a better cheek weld. This is just a little bit too small in my opinion. I do like the fact that it is minimalistic, and I think if this was an SBR or a CQB style rifle, it would be perfect. But I think for a regular infantry rifle, I would like something to be a little bit more robust than that. And now the other thing, which I've already kind of praised for its lightness, but I actually think it is too thin, is the handguard. Now, the thing about the New Zealand Reference Rifle that I really liked is that it dissipated heat really well. Every time I've shot a rifle with a very narrow free-floated handguard, many times these things can heat up really quick. Now, you can add other things on here like rail covers or vertical foregrips or the like, and that can probably dissipate that heat and keep that heat away from your hands. But in general, I found that these narrow handguards with my larger hands, they just kind of feel a little bit too small, and I don't like having my hands that close to the barrel, especially after prolonged shooting. I can begin to feel that radiating heat. But we're gonna have to see how this thing performs. That's just my speculation before shooting it. But speaking of shooting it, let's get this thing to the range. I'm going to set up the target at 15 yards. I'm going to make sure this Trijicon is just zeroed. This is just pretty much a function test. I'm going to shoot 20 rounds through it just to make sure it's working like it should, that there's no problems, see how the trigger functions. how the recoil is, and generally how I like the rifle. So let's see how it performs. Alright, so after shooting it, I noticed three things. Number one, the gun's a little bit more gassy than I was expecting it to be. Normally on these piston system guns, the gas is all up here in the front, but I felt it in my face and I could smell it more than I was expecting. I'm used to that on direct impingement guns, but not piston guns. So that kind of surprised me. Why it's doing that, I don't know. It's not really that big of a deal. It's just different and not what I was expecting. I also noticed that the gun likes to flip just a little bit. The recoil on this is really light, especially compared to other piston-driven AR-15s that I've shot. But like all piston-driven systems, there's a little bit more mass in here and a little bit more things that are moving. It kind of lifts the gun just a little bit, but not bad at all. But as compared, as I said, to other piston ARs, it's really smooth, and I'm really impressed with that. The last thing, of course, is the report of the gun. It's a little bit louder than your standard DI gun. I guess it's just because the gas is kept all up here in the front. Instead of letting it expand to the back of the gun, it just seems to be a little bit louder. So if you could run one of these with a suppressor, that might be the way to go, but that's just something I have discovered on all piston ARs. All right, so now I'm gonna set the target out to as far out as I can on this range, which is 25 yards, and yes, I know this rifle can shoot way further than this, and this is not really doing it justice, but it is the range that I can film these reviews on, so just please bear with me. I'm going to shoot this rifle offhand at the head on this IDPA target, see how it does, see if I discover anything else about it. So far, this two-stage trigger from LMT is really nice, really smooth, and very predictable, just like the New Zealand reference rifle was. So let's just see what happens to this group, what happens to the accuracy, and if I notice anything else. And this gun continues to shoot great and of course is very accurate. I am noticing by shooting this offhand that this gun is very well balanced. I kind of complained with the New Zealand reference rifle that it was a little bit front heavy, but maybe with this lighter M-LOK handguard out front, it just balances this gun a lot better. I like it where the center of gravity is a little bit further back, and that's where I feel this rifle is. So it shoots extremely naturally. So I really like that about this gun, and I think it's better than the New Zealand rifle. Well, now, of course, I'm going to bench rest this, and of course, I can only go out to 25 yards, but at this range, I am expecting exceptional accuracy, just like I did out of the New Zealand reference rifle. So let me get this bench rested, let me shoot another group, and see how the rifle does.
This always facing forward. Facing forward. Don't be soft. That shit in. I release this. Take off the trigger. And right on me. You can pick up the gun. I can Now it's this yours, right? It's done. So remember the grip. So it's underneath. There you go.
And that went as expected. Once again, I'm putting rounds through the same holes. And LMT honestly makes some of the best barrels out there, so that's just the accuracy and performance that I would expect. Anything less than that, I would honestly be very disappointed. Now, after shooting this enough, I'm starting to notice this handguard is heating up. Now, when it comes to the piston system guns, one of the things that they're supposed to do is keep the heat out towards the front of the firearm. But I'm really noticing back here at the chamber, it's warming up quite a bit. Now, this is a very thin handguard, and of course, when the propellant is being burnt back here, it is going to heat up. I didn't notice that with the New Zealand reference rifle, but this one I definitely am, and the heat is radiating from the barrel, which is very close to this handguard. And I'm noticing even if I'm holding it towards the center, it's definitely getting a little bit warm. Not uncomfortably warm, but I'm noticing it where I didn't notice it before. So I just wanted to kind of point that out. It's just a personal data point. Some people may think that's a concern, some people may not, but I'm just throwing it out there. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is give my wife Becky a chance to shoot this. You guys know she loves shooting AR-15s, and she likes this particular rifle when I let her hold it. She likes these more narrow handguards. But now that she's shooting it, I can already tell you before she shoots her round, she says, that rifle's hot. Just as I was telling you, this handguard is heating up quite a bit. She wasn't really expecting that. But that's the pro and con to these narrow handguards. Well, let's see what she thinks. I'm curious if she's going to notice a difference between the piston system of this particular firearm and the DI gun of the New Zealand reference rifle. So let's see her shoot it, and let's see what she says. So with the exception of the heat, she really liked this. And I was talking about how nice this rifle is designed, especially when it comes to the controls. She has a lot smaller hands, and this grip is perfect for her. It's also really nice for me. She did like that narrow handguard, and she really said she liked the trigger. These LMT two-stage triggers are awesome. They're so predictable, they're so light, and the take-up is so smooth, and the break is so crisp. I really think for a mil-spec trigger, I don't know if you can really do much better. They are outstanding. And she liked so much about this gun, but just said the handguard was a little bit hot. But as I said, that's just part of having such a narrow, lightweight handguard so close to that barrel. But it's not uncomfortably hot. So the next test I want to do, as always, is the quick magazine change. Now remember, I am just an average gun guy. I am not a competitive shooter. I don't do this for a living. So if I can shoot this gun fast and pull this trigger fast and change this magazine out fast and get the gun back in action fast, well, I know someone like you that probably trains doing this can. So would somebody use this in competition? I definitely see where that could be a possibility, and I think that would be a really important data point. So number one, I just like to have fun, but number two, I'm just curious if I can do it fast. So on the New Zealand reference rifle, this two-stage trigger was a little bit slow for me because of that take-up. Now, these two-stage triggers I don't think lend themselves to really fast shooting that well. I do prefer single-stage triggers, but let's just see how this rifle performs. I don't think I'm going to have any issues, and hopefully my time on this will be a little bit quicker than it was on that New Zealand rifle, because now I know what to expect.
Ah. Oh, big. You can do it. Yeah, you can take pictures.
All right, so I'm pretty happy with how fast I could shoot this, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I already shot the New Zealand reference rifle and I knew what to expect from this two-stage trigger. The magazines on this gun fall out really fast and are really easy to insert, so nothing else changed from the other review. The one thing that I did notice is that this gun does not stay on target as easy. I mentioned it earlier in the review, the gun kind of jumps just a little bit more because I think you have a little bit more reciprocating mass in the action of this firearm. So shooting it that fast, I noticed that the gun was rising a little bit more and I had to stay focused to keep it on target. So I think the DI guns definitely beat out the piston guns in that regard. But speaking of shooting this fast and having fun with it, I gotta do the obligatory mag dump. So let me just do that, get it out of the way, because I gotta shoot this thing fast. Man, I just love shooting such awesome and amazing high-end guns like this. And man, I wish this gun had the giggle switch, but shooting it fast semi-auto is about as best as I'm going to do. So let me just load up a magazine, shoot this thing fast, and then I'll give you guys my final thoughts.
It didn't disengage.
Always make sure that you check that. There you go.
That's what I thought. So again, it's like little things.
Always check.
Right.
He's doing that. He's not.
All right, and you can see this gun is just a lot of fun to shoot. I just had to do that because it's just a cool rifle. So what are my final thoughts on this gun? Well, it's really cool to get to shoot both the New Zealand reference rifle and the Estonian reference rifle back to back because they're honestly such different guns, even though they come from the same company. LMT obviously has mastered the art of AR-15 craftsmanship. I mean, making DI guns, making piston guns, making them super reliable, super accurate, super high quality. Their upper receivers and these monolithic rails are just some of the best in the industry. They're well built, they're well balanced. Man, the options on these are just awesome. And as I said, I think their lower receivers are just the best on the market, especially when it comes to military applications. There are those couple of things that I would say I might not like as much as other guns. You have that stock, and because of this piston system and handguard, the gun just kind of rises just a little bit more than maybe the New Zealand reference rifle and other DI guns, but it's not noticeable really at all. I probably only mention it because I shot these two rifles back to back. But man, they're both awesome. They both have that coolness factor of being military contracts, and they're LMTs. I mean, Lewis Machine & Tool, they're just simply awesome. So, on my star system, how would I rate the Estonian Reference Rifle from LMT? Well, I don't think this is going to come as any surprise to you. It's going to get a very high rating. It's not going to get a 5 out of 5 star because I did have a couple of issues, as I mentioned. Maybe that heat and the fact that the rifle kind of rises on me just a little bit more than I was expecting when I'm shooting it rapidly, but I am going to give it as close as I can give it at 4.75 stars out of 5. I think I like the New Zealand reference rifle just a little bit more. Maybe I'm a little bit more of a purist because I like the quad rails, I like the DI action, but this rifle is right behind it and definitely is another rifle that I would want in my collection. So I fear that D letting me borrow this rifle has probably made me spend even more money. So this rifle is going on my short list, but I think I want the New Zealand one first. But this gun is absolutely awesome. And if you like piston ARs and like high-end ARs, this is one that I would definitely recommend because it's accurate, it functions great, military provenance, and it's just cool as heck. So there you go. What do you guys think? Do you guys like LMT rifles as much as I do now? And do you have any interest in either of the reference pattern rifles because they have that military provenance? I know that I'm a collector and I like cool stuff like this. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, and what do you think about comparing those two rifles? What are your thoughts? If you could only own one, which one would you want and why? I look forward to seeing what you say. So, as always, thanks for watching. If you're shooting for longer time, that's a lot of stupid stuff to say right there.